This week, we talk about Xbox Lockhart rumors, missing accessories from the next iPhone, and more as we, together, as a people, take it out. And welcome to another sensational Saturday. This one's actually a little bit more sensational than normal because it's a national holiday. If you're in America, it's Independence Day. Just like the Webby song. Remember that? I-N-D-E-O. That might be inappropriate. But I'm back with the tech news on Saturday. This is Mike, and this is Mike Text It Out. And yes, I am here on a new set, and no, this is not just for Independence Day. It just happened to coincide with that day because I wasn't thinking about it when I made it. But the new set is here, and I'm here, so let's go ahead and sprint into this news. And speaking of Sprint, well, if you were a Sprint customer or are currently a Sprint customer, I guess technically now T-Mobile, and you have a 5G phone, you might be in a little bit of trouble on the 5G aspect because T-Mobile is officially discontinuing Sprint's 5G network to focus on their own. And since Sprint and T-Mobile worked off of two different technologies, one was GSM, one was CDMA, their networks aren't fully compatible. So basically them discontinuing the 5G network on the Sprint side means a lot of the Sprint 5G phones won't work on 5G any longer because they won't be compatible with T-Mobile's network. So what they're doing to combat this is basically they're going to offer a credit to those customers, like a phone purchase credit to the customers that have phones that aren't compatible. They did say that the S20 line, like the S20 Ultra, would still be compatible even if you have the Sprint version, I guess because of the way those phones are made. But if you have a non-current 5G Samsung phone, then yeah, you probably won't get 5G functionality without buying a new phone. Like personally, I have no interest in owning a 5G phone because I don't live in a 5G area. And by the time that 5G is readily available, the improvements to the antenna technology in the phones will probably be so significant that it'll be worth waiting just to get a 5G phone when they're more affordable and the technology is more widely available. That's just my take on it. So personally, if I was a Sprint customer with a 5G phone and I lost that functionality, I would just be happy getting the credit because I think they were offering low band 5G anyway, which is that much faster than 4G. So it's not like a huge loss really in these early stages of 5G development. But it is an RIP to the Sprint customers moving over to Stint. Sorry, T-Mobile. You know, sorry for your loss. But at least when T-Mobile gets their network up and you have an upgrade, then you good? You good. Speaking of good, it's a good time to be a console gamer. That transition, woo! And the reason I'm talking about console gaming is because there's new Xbox rumors on the horizon. So originally it was reported by The Verge that Xbox Lockhart is still gonna be a real thing. So those of you who are not familiar with these rumors, basically they've already announced the Xbox Series X, but Microsoft did mention that this wouldn't be the only Xbox in the line, that the Xbox Series was actually the name of it and the X just designates the model. So there's a rumored Xbox Series S codenamed Xbox Lockhart right now because you know they always have those weird code names before they release. But this is supposed to be like a less powerful version of the Xbox Series X, aka the cheaper version. And it's rumored that it's still going to use the same CPU as the Xbox Series X. So of course online people are like, oh, it's going to be more powerful than the PS5. Well, at this point, I don't think the power difference is really going to matter that much. Like, yes, technically the CPU that the Xbox is going to use is faster. They're both very similar, slightly faster. So if the cheaper version is going to have the same CPU, then yes, CPU-wise, it will still be slightly faster than the PS4. But realistically in games, I don't think it's going to make that much difference. Just like with this current generation, how, you know, the PS4 was originally more powerful than the Xbox One, and now the Xbox One X is more powerful than the PS4 Pro. But realistically, as someone who owns both the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro, there's not much difference graphics wise. Like, I'm gonna be honest about it. And some stuff on the PS4 Pro just looks amazing, like God of War. To me, that's kind of like a grain of sand. It's like, okay, yeah, on paper, the CPU is faster. But of course, if it's a budget system, they're gonna have to cut down on something. So it's gonna have less RAM than the Series X. So it's rumored to only have 7.5 gigs of RAM versus the 13.5 gigs that are usable on the Series X. Also, it's rumored that the GPU, basically the graphics, are only gonna be 1/3 as powerful as the Series X. So it's supposed to have 4 teraflops of graphics performance. Who actually knows what that means? 4 teraflops versus 12. That's not a real thing. It's not even a real thing. So with this, we can just say that, you know, on paper is 1/3 as powerful. And apparently this is gonna be a console that's gonna be targeted for 1080p gamers or 1440p gamers. So basically people that have 1080p TVs still are on a 1440p monitor, because I don't think there's really many or any 1440p TVs. Not saying that TVs aren't capable of displaying that resolution, it's just not a common resolution for televisions. So that's the breakdown of the rumor, and it's speculated that this will be announced in August. And so basically that will put it power-wise around the Xbox One X, the current one. Which makes sense because I said that the Xbox One is still gonna be compatible with the Xbox Series X games. So maybe this is just kind of the replacement for that system. Who knows what the price is going to be like, but if it is around the same amount of power, I'm guessing maybe that will be around $400, and then the Series X will be $500. But who knows? That's just my own personal speculation. Again, this is all just rumors. I do think that this will probably happen, but will it happen in August? I don't know, because it's kind of up in the air right now. It will be a little bit confusing for them to release 2 different consoles at the same time. So I could see this being possibly like a next year release after the initial expensive console comes out, and then it's like, hey, here's this cheaper version. But who knows, maybe they will release both of them at the same time, especially considering that they're competing directly against Sony in this release window. So if their console, their high-end Series X, is the same price as the PS5, presumably the disc version, we just don't have any pricing on either one. So if they're both competing at the high end and then Microsoft releases something that's lower end, it would make sense, because it's like, okay, well, this is our system to battle with Sony, and then this is our system that's going to undercut them in price, you know, with lesser performance, but will people really care? I don't think so. For me, what I would need to see from Microsoft to convince me that this actually has a chance of working is a better display of the games that are going to be available. Like Sony's press conference last month kind of blew me away with the games that I saw, and I was like, you know, if I was picking based on the games right now, I would definitely be leaning towards the PlayStation 5, just based on the games. And to me, these consoles are so similarly spec'd that that's really what it's going to come down to. Of course, as the generation goes on, different things may happen. Right now, Sony has a really strong lineup plan over the next couple of years, and Microsoft is kind of like, we're still hanging in there, we're still waiting for the games. I really hope that they have more than just Halo Infinite in the bag, that they give us something or some games to actually look forward to make this a better competition. Like I said, I'm so interested to see what Microsoft's going to do. The second console thing, like I said, makes sense. And you know what doesn't make sense? These apps doing shady things. So I didn't report on this last week, but it seems like it might be a bigger deal than I initially thought it was. So the developers beta for iOS 14 came out, and one of the things they touted are the new privacy features. Basically, they're giving users direct access to see what these apps are doing and see the data that they're asking for. So one thing that they found was TikTok was accessing the Clipboard. Now, the Clipboard, for those of you that don't know what it is basically when you copy something, like let's say if you copy some text or a photo or something like that, and you're gonna paste it somewhere. While it's copied and stored in memory, that's the clipboard. So whenever you copy something, that's your clipboard. So basically, TikTok was accessing the clipboard, and they said that it was due to some kind of security feature, blah, 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 and it would be removed. Because of the iOS 14 update, like basically the operating system telling like, hey, this app is accessing your clipboard. And then people were like, hey, why are you accessing the clipboard? I mean, it may not be a huge deal to a lot of people, but let's say if you were buying something and for whatever reason you copied your credit card number, and then you go to TikTok or some app, and then it's accessing your clipboard, it's accessing your credit card number or social security number or whatever you have copied at the time. That's why it's an issue. So TikTok did come out and say they're going to fix it. They didn't make any mention of if they were also doing this on Android or if there would be any changes there. And there's not like an operating system level thing that's going to tell you on Android like there is with iOS 14, even though technically that hasn't even rolled out yet. So it's crazy. But what's even crazier aside from the TikTok thing, the reason I'm bringing it up this week is because 53 apps now in total have been found accessing the Clipboard. And these are bigger apps, like we're talking about like Fox News, New York Times, PUBG Mobile, games like Bejeweled and Fruit Ninja. Basically, when you go to the apps, they're accessing your Clipboard for whatever reason. And to me, that's kind of weird. Like, what do they need access to your Clipboard for? So yeah, if you do have these apps installed, just be on the lookout. At least when iOS 14 rolls out this fall, we'll be able to tell who's snooping and creeping on our app activities. Because I ain't with that. I ain't with all the flag flying and set throwing and whatever is going on with the apps. We all just need to stop beefing. You know, we can agree on what data we want to give you and not give you. And Apple's making it a lot easier. I do applaud them for that. Obviously, this was like an unintentional consequence of their new security feature. Well, I wouldn't even say unintentional, because this is the point of it, is to give users that information, like who is doing what with your information. Along with that update, there's also going to be like a little card on the App Store, and that's going to tell how much information that this app requests access to when you install it. So just making this information a lot more visible to customers in a way that's easy for people to understand, I think is very important, and I do applaud Apple for that. As for now, the 53 apps that are affected kind of need to get their stuff together before this goes like, you know, worldwide, iOS 14, and there's a lot more people asking like, hey, why are you accessing my Clipboard? Speaking of iOS 14, maybe there won't even be an iOS 14 if this rumor is true and these users get upset about the next iPhone, because it's now been rumored that the next iPhones, or this year's iPhones, may not come with a charger in the box. Now, this has been going around all week. People have been giving their thoughts on it. I haven't really come out with my thoughts on it. So here we go. I think that not shipping a charger in the box with the iPhone would be stupid, especially with the Pro series where it uses USB-C. Now, there are a lot of people that do have other devices that have a USB-C charger, but it's still not to the level of USB-A where like it's easy to find like a charging brick or plug into something and be able to charge your phone if you don't have a wireless charging solution. On the other hand, since I've got phones with wireless charging, I've exclusively used wireless charging except for like in the car, where I obviously don't plug it into a wall anyway. So to me, for my lifestyle, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But I don't know if the world's ready to not have a charger included in the box. I mean, there's a lot of people who aren't tech savvy that buy iPhones that, yeah, maybe they have an existing phone and maybe they'll have a charger that fits it around the house somewhere. But it's just kind of an inconvenience, and it'll be a little bit confusing because, like, let's say they get the 11 Pro that has USB-C. Now they have to go online and try to find a compatible charger. And aside from buying one directly from Apple, if you're looking for a cheaper option, it's just going to be kind of confusing with power delivery and all the stuff that you need to know to make an intelligent decision about buying a charger that's going to give you enough power. I mean, all of them will give you enough power. Like, all of them will technically be able to charge the phone no matter which wattage it is, just how fast you want it to charge. But then again, you don't want to overspend on a charger like a MacBook charger that's like 60 watts or something for $100 just to charge your phone with. So I think that you're putting those customers into a situation where it may not be easy to figure out exactly what they need. Now, if they do it this way, which this would make the most sense to me, where let's say this year is like last year where you have, let's just call it the 11S. I don't know if it's going to be called the 11S or the 12, but let's say that's the base model. It's like the 11, where like the 11 this year just came with the regular charger, the 5-watt wall charger, and that one doesn't come with a wall charger. That's not as big of a deal because that's still USB-A. Whereas the Pro came with a fast charger. It would make sense to me if they did this, if it was just specifically related to the lower end models where it's still using USB-A and it's very easy to just find something to plug it into, and you probably have like 10,000 USB-A power bricks laying around. Like if they do it with both models and put a USB-C cable in the box, then I feel like it's just gonna be a mess for Apple. Like, yeah, eventually people will get used to it, especially after this first year where it's really rough. But it's still going to be a bigger problem, I think, if they did this with both models and then offer like a USB-C cable, and people are going to be like, I don't know what to do with this. I don't know where to plug this in at. I can't charge my phone. And then people are going to be freaking out. I mean, I've worked in tech support long enough to know that people will freak out about this. So if this is true, I'm hoping that maybe it'll just be like the more entry-level models where USB-A is still widely available. You can plug it into a computer or whatever and charge it. To me, that would make the most sense. Then you also have wireless charging. I mean, personally, I love me some wireless charging, especially when I go to bed. I just lay my phone down and it charges. I don't have to plug anything in. I wake up, I pull it off. It's just so convenient. But that's my thoughts on that whole situation, and that's my thoughts on the news this week. I hope everybody has a happy and safe holiday. I'll be back on Tuesday with another super cool unboxing. And of course, I'll be back on Saturday, next Saturday, with more tech news, just like every week. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to tell a friend, tell a coworker, like, share, and subscribe, and always do at least 2 things at the same time.